Actually,
cold, like the one that we're
Cold
gonna.
glue?
Yeah.
let's start with the hot because the hot is on.
Oh, okay.
Then we will.
Because if we don't, then I've got to cool this down, set it to a temperature that's a low
No,
temp that
whatever
it'll
is
give us.
ready
Oh
now.
no,
so it'll give us
whatever
a
is
green
ready
light.
now.
Okay.
Oh,
I thought hot and cold that we mentioned is based on the material, not. So.
Most of the time, it's based on your machine and what you have. But people that have both will select for certain types of materials and what
Okay.
they're doing. So these are hot. Remember the other day when I
Yeah.
touched it? That right there was just from getting the glue on my finger.
I know.
Because the temperatures are cranked so freaking high right now to get these things to work. It's not a happy zone.
It can burn easily. Okay, what about this machine?
Okay, so all the heads are hooked up right now. So I'm going to unhook the cold heads. That's 3. That's 1, 2,
We have 2 cold heads,
3. You have 3 cold heads.
3 cold
3
heads.
cold heads. Okay, so when you're going to use the hot melt system, you have to hook up this splitter cable down. One through 4 is one cable, and then 3 and 4 is one. So that we need to mark them there, not one. So once we get them hooked up, we need to have them marked. So this one is 1 and 2. And you have gun 1 and gun 2. Okay.
Yep.
The other cable says the exact same thing, but this one plugs in to 1 and 2, and the other one will plug in 1 and 2. And here you have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. But you have to plug 1 into your odd, 2 into your even, 1 into your odd, 2 into your even, for them to work in the right position. We're going to put 2 on first, just because it's inside. So that one's already hooked up. We're not going to hook up 3 and 4 because we're not going to use it.
That's interesting. You got lucky with these cable.
Oh yeah, it's just pure luck that they fit up when I seen it. I'm like, oh, this is like the table. Okay, so that lets us function the heads. This is 1. So I'm gonna connect it out of here.
Hot?
Oh yeah.
It is hot.
Oh yeah.
The first one, yeah.
All right. So now I need a clamp.
Thanks. Let me grab. What?
Probably a red dot.
You didn't plug in the 3 and 4, just for the hot one.
Yeah,
Just
we're
for-
not using it, so I'm not.
These are the based on the sections that we need. You just need one.
You're only
Yeah?
using one head.
So why you did put the 2?
just because I think that cable has to be hooked up because it communicates to this on the second one.
Okay.
So it was just more, I didn't want it to be thinking something weird. And we may move it to this one, I don't know yet. We'll just kind of see. So now, to make this work, I need that first sensor.
Kaçak gitti.
I need this one. Is that going into sensor 1? It's seeing it, so we're good there. And that light lights up when it sees it.
Aha. Detected again.
So it's seeing it. So now we start playing the game of all the others. So what this lets you do, so what I typically do here, there's these little trays that are back there. They're in one of the boxes. Those trays will set up on top of this thing, and they'll set on top of these metal bars, because you have the metal bars on the bottom. That lets you put one in place, and if you need to purge or check anything on the machine, you can purge it and check it, and you're not getting it all over the machine. What I typically do, if it's in a place where I can't get one of those, I'll just throw a piece of paper down there and let it shoot down to the paper, and then I throw the paper away later. So when they do that, that way we can actually make sure this damn thing
Okay.
is working. With all the hell we've had with them. Yeah, that'll work. And so what I do is I just take this and make sure I got everything moved out of the way. And just set that right there, so when it purges, it's just going to land on that piece of paper. But there are some little pans that can set on top of these bars, but their bars are never where you have the heads and where you want it.
Okay.
So kind of learn to play that game. So now we can move these out of here. I can turn that. I don't want to turn it on because I don't want it randomly firing.
My question is, yeah, you're gonna follow the new, because the sensor that you put here,
Yeah.
wouldn't be better if we start the sensor from here?
We can turn it around. You
The
can get it as close as
reason-
you want. Typically you want at least 1 inch to 2 inches prior. But the way this system's designed, that system will fire a head that's way down there. So then that's the way this system's set up. You have a sensor here that can fire the heads anywhere from here to here. So the system's pretty consistent.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna put it there and just see what it does. One thing is, the closer you get it to the piece, the easier it is to put in your adjustments for where you want it to fire and how long you want it to fire. So I'm gonna move these out of the way.
That one is for both?
That one runs both.
Okay.
That's the thing. I'm trying with, if he gets the new heads, I'm trying to get that where it actually goes through the system. So
It's
for you
off.
to use this, I haven't turned it on yet, so I don't want it. That's why I don't want it to fire or do anything.
Before the turning on, we should do these things, yeah?
Typically,
Avoid accident.
yeah. Well, it just keeps you from spraying or it doing something weird on you. Yeah, that first one just came out weird. All right, super off. Here we go.
Hit it?
Now we can stop. Just checked it as a jam. Put that eye.
Oh, that's a sensor, okay?
Now we can play the game. This is where it'll get a little tricky because I haven't done this in a while. But we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So we're going to go to head 1. We know that's the head we want to use. So we're at temp.
Operation mode. Yeah.
We're gonna turn that on. It'll pressurize the system.
Okay.
Be careful with these pointing up when we do this, because if it sprays something, it's coming back down. Okay, I want to go to 1. We're going to go to test. And pray to God one of these don't fire on accident. Test mode, we're right there. So let's see if it'll actually give us a purge. Yep. Okay, so that worked. So head 1 is good for operation. Now, whether once we get going and we need to turn the glue down enough, whether we can actually do that and the head keep functioning, I don't know. That's all going to be that coil.
Quick question. You press test and you press 1 for purge.
So when you go to test for the cold heads, it's set in a pulse mode. So when you actually go into test there and you turn that on, the pulse mode, it's going to buzz because it's actually sending dots. And then when you go into purge, it's just open up full. It just dumps. So the hot don't have that dot setting in it, so you don't really do it. You have to go to a full purge. So now, you got to go into your mode. So you've got window. So I want to go to 1. I want to pick the mode. That's the window. Begin time. So I believe the window is what is before the piece. That's the gap before the piece. And if you watch these dots, it kind of tells you. So it's going to tell you want it to begin in however many millimeters it is from that eye. So we need to get that tape measure.
Tape measure.
Right there.
Puncha.
So we're going to have to measure from that eye to the head.
To where head?
So we'll just do this.
Okay, the head is on. It's not gonna pour anything
No.
at the moment.
No. So we're there. They're on the red, right in the gap. In the center of my head, looks like it is
19.
100 and
90, 188.
like 188, roughly. So we're gonna switch that to 188. Then we'll hit that. It'll come down. We're going to end. So how many millimeters do we want it to shoot? So that depends on our glue flap. So we want to shoot. You want to end roughly somewhere between 10 and 5 from the end, ballpark. So we'll do that. We'll go from there.
22 plus 188 means.
Well, it's 100,
300.
200 and
22.
210 is what we're going to say.
210.
210. So that'll go to 210.
So 10 millimeter gap from the start and end.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll set that at 210. That's the length we want. If we need to shift it, then we can change that beginning start distance. We can make it 5 longer, 5 shorter, however we want to.
One quick question. The end that you mentioned, shouldn't be the end from the from the sensor to the end of the shoot? Wasn't that the case?
No, because once it's going to go, the sensor, you're going to start, here's the sensor, you're going to start at this point. Then I'm going to glue for that point and stop.
Oh, okay.
So it's not here to here.
Okay,
It's
got
from my last start point to my next end point. Similar to what that is. How you measure it and then you keep adding.
Oh, yeah.
Same way.
Yes,
So they
I
should be
remember.
very similar. Then end point, space, I believe that's the space at each end of it. I believe space 1, space 2. We can confirm that later. Space 2, begin 2. That's if you're doing a second. We're not doing a second, so I want to change those. Begin 2, 0, 5 millimeters.
Doesn't matter
So
actually.
yeah, it's giving it 5 millimeters from the edge. In 80, so we'll just have to watch to see if this, oh, that's one, the other one, okay. There we go. So now we should be in a fire state. We can ready to send one through and test it. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna turn it on. I'm gonna take a piece of paper and I'm gonna trick fire it and see if it shoots down there and see what we get. And hopefully it's not a big mess. All right, clear prop. Here we go. So I should be able to trigger this if it's reading off 1 and it should fire it. Yep, it fired. And it did a pulse, so that's kind of cool. So we'll feed one through and see what we get.
Okay.
See if we're close to being where we need to be. I only want one, so that's really what matters. There we go. It sprayed way early, so we got to delay it. So I got to delay it even for that flap. I didn't do that. So the gap between it plus this. So the gap plus that to put it where I want it. So I need to add 80 to it. So the first one I need to add 80 millimeters. So 492.
What? It doesn't blinking. Is it?
Oh,
Are you
yeah.
adding to the first or?
I don't know. I gotta read on this one. So that's my window.
Now, in pressure, air pressure. Begin pressure now.
Okay. I gotta see what that first window is there.
Okay.
If this don't do it, I gotta look that up.
Add the 82 to all of the numbers we input.
No, just that one, because see, we told it to fire, this is the gap between this and this, and we're telling it to fire at this point. So if we lengthen that, then that retards that distance back to start. Now, that window, I gotta confirm, that window may be the gap from that to that, 100% sure.
We will check. The gap exactly the same.
I think I'm too far out.